My name is Dave Perry. I teach 2D animation, traditional drawn animation, storyboard, drawing for animation classes here at Cogswell. One of the things that I stress in my class, whether it's a perspective and rendering class or whether it's 2D animation, is this concept of visual narrative. You don't have to be using a temporal medium like film in order to tell a story. You can encapsulate a moment from a story or a vignette of a story into a single still image. And understanding how to do that gives you a grounding on how to communicate that in a more temporal medium like film.
Okay, so today we'll be taking a look at the thumbnails for your final project sequences. Something to think about when we're going through review. Right now, the most important thing is the visual story and the visual pacing of it, okay? One of the primary things you want to start working out is how is your visual pacing going to be set up to support how you want to tell the story. Okay, so Adam, if you want to come up and pitch your boards.
My name's Adam. I've always loved great movies, video games. I'm really into that kind of stuff. I'm taking storyboarding right now. It's being taught by David Perry. Basically, you draw out each frame of your story. So when you go into actually filming it, it clears up so much more time. You basically take your frames and it's your shot list. All right, so we start off with a shot of Jack. He's looking down at something. Cut over to him looking at he's got a little photo of his family in his hand, his back.
Animation is a collaborative art, and one of the wonderful things about instruction is that it is an amazing type of collaboration with students. The idea is to pass on some of the knowledge that I know, but at the same time not to get them to follow step-by-step formulas so much as to give them the information to where they can generate their own answers.
At the beginning of the sequence, I have this guy named Jack. He's his first mission in World War I. He's a fighter pilot, so he's really nervous, and his whole crew, his whole wingman and all, they're intercepting some Germans. So at this point in the story, they totally have the upper hand. The Germans don't even see they're coming.
This is the first kind of freewheeling action sequence, and you might want to move in and back out and back in a little bit more than you are right there to just kind of open that up.
I was trying to keep the idea that we don't really know where he is.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was going for.
I'm just trying to delay the reveal there. Okay.
The presentation of every project assignment involves class review of the material. It's really important for the development of the students to not only take a look at their work, but to look at other artists' work. As they evaluate it, they will see stuff that you're oftentimes blind to in your own work. One of the things I think Adam did really well is how he decided to differentiate when Jack is in the air combat situations and when Jack is on the ground.
The sequence where the plane crashed, I found that really interesting, and it just looked really dynamic and really well done, and you just got the sense of like the chaoticness of it.
Any last comments?
I like the idea of having more time spent on his reaction to show how frantic it all is, because then you can contrast it to the fade to black. When it shows a close-up on his eye, you can really set the mood as being entirely different and much more like kind of sedate as he's coming to.
I want my students to leave the class with the ability to generate unique ideas of their own and to be able to pass that straight through the medium, whatever it is, whether it's film or whether it's game or whether it's animation, so that they're not thinking about the tool so much as they are seeing their idea visualized, and they can be very, very immediate in that moment of creation. At the end of the class, they're also going to understand all the terminology, the professional language that's necessary for them to not only be able to understand what their peers are talking about in the profession, but also to be able to communicate on an even playing field with their peers.